We talked about arithmetic sequences and geometric sequences. Today we're going to focus on arithmetic sequences only. How to find the different parts, formulas, all that stuff in much more detail on arithmetic sequences. Also, I want to make a note. Okay, if you want any of your graded homework that you have not yet collected, because I don't take the time to pass it all back, this stack right here is where your 6th period graded homework is. If you wish to go through that, pull out any graded homework, check to make sure you got the grades you're supposed to get, blah, 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 blah. You need to have that empty. You need to get it by Friday. At the end of the day, Friday, everything in that stack is going in the recycling bin. Because at some point, it just gets too full. And it's too full. I'll put it up here for now. So, your first formula that you're going to have to know how to use. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So we already talked about some of the stuff in there. Arithmetic sequences have a common difference. We did that. I am recording, okay. Arithmetic sequences have a common difference. D, we did that. The arithmetic sequence you get by adding or subtracting the same number each time. Arithmetic means are the ones between, let's say I have missing numbers and I want to find the missing numbers. Okay, we'll figure out how to find those, the arithmetic mean, how to figure out what those missing numbers are. Arithmetic sequence formula. So this is a formula to help you find parts. If I know a couple of parts of a formula, of a sequence, I can find the other things I need. I can find the distance, the difference. If I know the difference and I know two of the numbers, I can figure out what number the term number is. Okay, all kinds of things. I have technically 4 variables in here. Okay, I've got 4 variables. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I know 3, I can plug them in and find the 4th one. Okay. Also, when we were looking for we did recursive formulas yesterday for arithmetic sequences. If we do explicit formulas, this is what you need to be able to find an explicit formula. Okay? If I know the first term and I know the difference, I plug those in and simplify. I get my explicit formula. Okay, and we will be doing that as part of the day. So this is the first of many formulas you're going to get during this chapter. You will have this formula. I will give this formula for you to be able to use on the test, but you have to know it and have to understand how to use it. Okay, because I have it written down, you don't technically have to have it memorized, but you better know what that means, and better know what it goes for, and better know what the different parts are. The main reason to give you the formula is that way if you do accidentally mismemorize something, you don't get screwed on the test. It's more important that you know how to use it than have it memorized exactly. Does that make sense? So I give it to you. You're going to have it available on the chapter test, but you better know what it stands for. You better know what the different parts are, and you better know how to use it properly. Okay, so that's on you. Knowing how to use it's on you. Knowing the formula, I'm not going to make you memorize the formula, but you better be familiar with it. Okay. Let me extend this up so you can get the bottom. D is the common difference, and you should have gotten that one by now. Excuse me. Any questions about this stuff? Bless you. Okay. So, Example problem number 1, are any of these arithmetic? Yes or no? If they are, find D. So the first one, to get from 4.2 to 2.5 to 0.8 to negative 0.9, that's obviously going down. Am I going down by the same amount each time? One way I can do, remember we did this, we talked about it, subtract the previous one, 2.5 minus 4.2. And calculators will be extremely handy on these. Okay, I cannot tell you how handy they will be. 2.5 minus 4.2, I get negative 1.7. And then I try it again. 0.8 minus 4, sorry, minus 2.5. 0.8 minus 2.5, negative 1.7. I think I see a pattern, but I do want to check for sure. Negative 0.9 minus 0.8, and yes, that's negative 1.7. So yes, it's arithmetic, and D is negative 1.7. Okay. If you're not sure, do the subtraction thing and see if that's what it is. And because it's a relatively short sequence, you check them all. Okay, the next one. This is a recursive formula. You're given the first term, and then you're given how to find the next term. So how do I find, what do I do to the previous term to find the next one? What am I doing to the previous term to find the next one? What do I do to the first term to find the second term? What am I doing to the second term to find the third term? What does this formula tell me that I'm doing? Well, yeah, I'll put 3 in there, but what I'm saying is, if I look at this part right here, I don't need to know the first term. I need to know how I'm getting the next term to figure out if it's arithmetic or geometric. So what am I doing to the fourth term to find the fifth term? I'm subtracting 3. What am I doing to the 20th term to find the 21st term? Subtracting 3. What am I doing to the 145th term to find the 146th term? Subtracting 3. If I'm adding or subtracting the same thing every time, it's arithmetic, and the thing that I'm subtracting is my D, or adding or subtracting. If all I'm doing in a recursive formula is adding or subtracting, that's my D, that's my difference.
Wait, why is it 4?
Sorry, 4. My bad, 4. My bad. I don't know why I had 3, because of the 3 there. My bad, thank you. Always whenever I'm taping. That's when you guys correct me, every time. Maybe I shouldn't screw up, right? Okay. The last one's an explicit formula. Okay. Now, there are a couple of ways to test, is this arithmetic or not? An easy way to do is to find a few terms. Find in a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3. See if there's a pattern to it. That's an easy way to do it. A sub 1, put in 1, I get 2. A sub 2, I plug in 2 for n, 10 minus 7. Plug in 3, 3 times 15 minus 3 is 12. Do you see a pattern? How am I getting from one term to the next term? I'm adding 5. And if you remember, I talked about this yesterday, in a explicit formula, if it's a linear function, this is a linear function in an explicit formula, my D is what I'm multiplying times n. Okay, do you remember that? I talked about that. Okay. So these are all arithmetic sequences. This one you figured out the old-fashioned way. This one you get it, it's a recursive formula, and all I'm doing is adding or subtracting. There's nothing involved except adding or subtracting in a recursive formula. If I have an explicit formula and it's a linear function, the number in front of the n is my D, and it's arithmetic. You just have to learn to recognize those. Okay? Your turn. Okay, let's go ahead and go over these. So the first one, it's not arithmetic. If I checked by subtracting, I don't get the same thing each time when I subtract, so it's not arithmetic. So I don't care. It's not. Okay. This one, I subtract 8 each time. 11 minus 8 is 3. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Negative 5 minus 8 is negative 13. So it is, and D is negative 8, because that's why I'm adding negative 8 each time. This one is not arithmetic, because what am I doing to find the next term? I'm multiplying it times 3. This is actually a geometric one. In a recursive formula, what do I do to the previous to find out? Well, I multiply times 3. That's a geometric. This is not arithmetic, though. I don't care. This one here, it is, because how do I find the next term? I add 2.5 each time. So yes, it is. D is 2.5. Scroll up to do these. This one, it's an explicit formula. It is in a linear form. It is D is 3. It would increase by 3 each time. The next one is not 1, 2, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. No, that is not an arithmetic sequence, nor is it geometric. So this is not arithmetic, nor is it geometric. Okay. And the last one, it is. It's an explicit formula. It's a linear form. D is negative 4. It's going to go down by 4 each time. Okay. Now, if you plug numbers in to find numbers in the sequence and get it from there, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That will always work. Plug in a few numbers, see what you get. If the sequence works that way, it does. If not, move on. Okay? Questions about these? Okay. So this is where we're going to start using the formula that you got on the first page. You notice I wrote it down over here. I'm going to keep it up except for next Tuesday and Wednesday when I'm doing the testing in here, because I am proctoring the CASI test. I got to take this down because I'm not allowed to have any math formulas on the board or anywhere in the room. Nothing that can help anybody taking the test. So I got to take, and this is the only stuff I will have, the stuff I read up on the board. Okay. I will put it back up after the test. Okay. So this is our formula we're going to use. Plug in what you know, find out what you don't know. I want to find A sub 150. I want to find the 150th term in that sequence. That's what I'm looking for. How many things did I say were here? How many variables do you have? We've got 4 variables. A sub n, A sub 1, n, and d. This is the one we're looking for. We're looking for A sub 150. But what do we know? We know the first term, right? What's my first term? What's A sub 1? 2. We know n. What's n? 150. In this particular case, it's 150 because I'm looking for the 150th term. What's the other thing I need? I need my difference. I have not been told my difference, but I know how to deduce my difference. Do I not? 2, 4, 8. What's my D? 2, because it goes up by 2 each time. Plug in the things I know into the equation, figure out what I don't know. A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. I believe that works out to be 300.
It was like n1 equals 2 and n2 equals 3. Can you just do it 150 times 2?
Yeah, on this particular one you can, but if it wasn't 2 for the difference and if it was something else, you need to know how to use the formula. Congratulations. You figured it out anyways on another way. That shows insight. I'm very happy about that. I really am. But once again, if you don't know the form, if you can't see that connection, and sometimes they're easy to see like that one, other ones they're not. Yeah. So this is 300. Yeah, if you're counting by twos and start with 2 and get up to 150 to 1, it's going to be 2 times 150 because it's 2 times whatever n is what the sequence is. So you can get that. That's what he's saying, which is great. I love it. I love that you saw that. Perfect. But you need to better know the formula for other ones because it won't always be that easy.
I was getting a syntax error on my calculator.
Okay, how'd you type it in?
2 plus parentheses 150 minus 152.
Should work just fine. Unless you use the negative sign instead of subtraction.
No, I need to subtract that.
Okay, well, I'll have to take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's probably what it is. Either that or else you have 2 parentheses typed in going the same way, which happens. No, I'm serious. So if you have a choice of which ones to put in, sometimes you put them both in the same way, your calculator will freak. Because for everyone going this direction, it needs to have a matching one going the other direction. If you got 2 this way, you need to have 2 that way. It's just what it does. Okay, so same thing. What's our first term? A sub 1 is -3. What is our n? 46. We're looking for the 46th term, and our difference is -2. So I have a sub 46 equals -3 plus 46 minus 1 times -2. And some of them are relatively easy to do in your head, some of them aren't. So 46 minus 1 is 45. 45 times 2 is 90. So that's -90 minus 3, -93. But the calculator, just use the calculator, I'm fine with that. Okay. Does that make sense? That's the easy one. And there's a couple for you. Okay, so I went ahead and identified the 3 things that we need to plug in to get to our formula. A sub 1, n, and d for each one of them. The first one, d, is -10. I'm subtracting 10 each time. So the 56th term is 13.1 plus 56 minus 1 times -10. Let's see, so that's 55 times -10 is -550 plus 13 is -440 plus 3 is -337 plus 1 is -430, no, 20, oh crap. What'd you get?
536, -536.9.
-536.9. I almost had it. I'm showing off. That's what I get for showing off. See what happens when you try to show off? You get all screwed up. So. Okay. So the next one, I'm looking for the 115th term. The first term is 2. N is 115. So I have 115 minus 1 times 11. Well, and I'm not doing this one in my head. What'd you get? How much?
1,256.
1,256. I see a couple of nods. Okay. 1,256. If we're all in agreement, it must be right. Either that or you're all wrong. I've had that happen on me. I've had that backfire before. That happens. It's not that big a deal. Next one, I'm looking for the 73rd. A sub 73. First term is -2.1 plus 73 minus 1 times -0.2 because I'm going down 0.2 each time. So 72 times 2, 144, so it's 14.4. -14.4 plus -2.2 is -16.6.
Yeah, it should be -2.
-2.1, 2.1. So I was off. It would be negative 140. No, 100. 146.3. 0.5.
Negative 26.
What? Oh, I'm so screwed up.
I got negative 24.9.
For what?
Yeah, 16. Never. Why am I doing 100 something? Negative 16 point what?
5.
Negative 16.5. That's right. Negative 16.1. I had it right until she told me it was wrong on the 2.2. No, that screwed up the whole thing. Threw me all off. It's all her fault. One of those days. Okay, questions. So when the Russians watch my video, they're going to go, that crazy American teacher. Oh my God. Okay, now I can start recording again because the Russian spies aren't watching us anymore. Okay. All right. Here we go. Same concept. Same concept, same formula. Different things we know, different things we're looking for. Okay. I have my first term. I have my last term or nth term. I know what n is. I don't know what d is. So I know what the first term is, a sub 1. I know what the sixth term is, and I know what n is for 6. I have 3 of the 4 things in my formula. Plug 3 of those 4 things in to figure out what d is. That's what you have to do. So negative 30 equals 10 plus 6 minus 1 times d. Solve for d. That's what that's about. Okay. So, what do I do? Yeah, subtract 10 from both sides. Do the 6 minus 1, so I subtract 10. So I get negative 40 is equal to 5d. Divide both sides by 5. D is negative 8. So it's going down 8 each time. Okay? It's really not that hard. The next one, on the other hand, this is a nasty one. I'm not going to lie to you. At least not this time. I might lie to you, just not right now. I don't know the first term. I don't know D. I got to figure them out. There's a couple of ways to do this one. Okay, there's a couple of ways to do this one. I'm actually going to skip it and come back because we're going to do something later that will help us find D in a very easy way. Okay? So we're going to come back to that middle problem. We're going to skip it and come back to it after we do some other stuff later. Okay, so we'll skip that and come back because there's a really easy way to find D and there's a really hard way to find D. How many of you want to do the easy way? How many of you want to do things the hard way? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, yeah. So we'll come back and do it the easy way because right now you don't have the skills to do it the easy way, but you will when I show you something else in the next segment. Okay, so we'll go to this last one, which actually is, what are we looking for? We're looking for n. We know the nth term. We know the first term. We can find d. We just don't know what n is. We don't know what term number it is. That's what the question is. Which term of the sequence is saying what's n? This is the nth term here. This is my first term. D is negative 11. Because I'm going down 11 each time. I know 3 of my 4 things. Negative 500 equals 6 plus n minus 1 times negative 11. I just don't know what term number. I know what the last term is. I just don't know how many are in the sequence altogether. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Does that make sense? What we're looking for on this? So I'm going to move this up to the top to get a little more room to work. Negative 500 equals 6 plus, or 6 minus 11n plus 11, distribute the negative 11, right? So negative 500 equals negative 11n plus 16. I think you guys know how to do that, right? Subtract 16. 11, 16, 17, 17. I think you guys know how to do that. Subtract 17 from both sides. 500. Negative 517 equals negative 11. N divide by negative 11, and you get n equals 7 divided by 11, 47. Yes, ma'am. Because it's negative 11 times n minus 1. What do you do when you have a number times two things in parentheses? You distribute. Just because it's behind it, not in front of it, you still distribute. It's not minus 11, it's times negative 11, right? So you distribute. Just because it's in the back doesn't mean you don't distribute, right? Right? Questions? Okay. So, do the first one, do the last one, skip the one in the middle, we'll come back to it. Okay, so let's do these. Okay, so the first one, we know what the first term is, the 12th term, and we know what n is 12. So negative 17 equals 16 plus 12 minus 1 times d. Subtract 16 from both sides, negative 33 equals 11d. Divide by 11, d equals negative 3. Okay. Once again, I said skip the middle one. We will come back on that one, find an easier way to do that. Last one, we want to know what n is. So the 72nd term, the first term is negative 12. Plus, or sorry, the last term is 72. N minus 1. And what's our d? Plus 4. We're going up by 4. So it's 4. Okay, distribute. I'm going to add 12 at the same time I distribute. So if I add 12 and then distribute and add 12, I get 84 equals 4n minus 4. Add 4 again. 88 is equal to 4n. Divide by 4, and n equals 22. Okay, not too hard. Questions?
Wait,
Oh, I can go back.
oh, never mind.
What was the question?
No, I put it 11.
Okay.
Instead of 22.
Be careful.
I'm thinking
Okay. Now this one here, the arithmetic means, is actually how you can find this and find the missing terms and figure out what D is. This will help you do that. So doing these ones will show you how to do those two that we skipped. Okay? So on the first one, here's how you find arithmetic means. I want to find one arithmetic mean between 132 and 98. That means I've got a sequence of numbers. I don't know where 132 and 98 fall in this. They could be part of the beginning, they could be part of the end. I don't know. I don't care. All I care is that I've got 132, comma, a missing number, comma, and 98. That's what that question is, and that question says find the missing number between them. So what I need to do is find the arithmetic mean. You have found the arithmetic mean between two numbers before. It's the average. I want to find the one in the middle. How do you find the one in the middle? The arithmetic mean is 132 plus 98 divided by 2. And that'll give me the arithmetic mean. But that only works if you have one number that you're missing. By the way, what is that number? 115? Okay. But that only works if you have one number. It kind of sucks, because if I look at this next example, I'm going from negative 12, and I have 1, 2, 3 to fill in. Arithmetic mean will not work for this. I can't average and find the one in the middle doing the average. I can, but then what about the other two? And I got to do the average again and average again. It doesn't really work. But what we can do is we can figure out what D is. We can figure out D and go from there. Here's what you do. Take the last term. Subtract the first term. 16 minus negative 12. Now, how did I get from here to here? How many steps do I have to do that? I have to add 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Divide that by 4. The 3 blanks plus 1 more. How many times did I add that number to get from negative 12 to 16? I added it 4 times. 1 for each blank and then 1 more time at the end. 16 minus negative 12 is 28. 28 over 4 is 7. That's my D. That's my D. That's how I find my D. So, how do I get from negative 12 to the next number? What do? I add 7. Excuse me, I add 7. Negative 12 plus 7, negative 5. How do I get from negative 5 to the next one? I add 7. How do I get from 2 to the next one? I add 7. And if I add 7 to that, do I get 16? Then I did it right. That's how you find D. And D is much easier than figuring out what those 3 numbers are by taking the average to find the one in the middle. The average, and if you have an odd number, if you have an even number of spaces in here, you can't do the average to find the thing in the middle. So this is what you want to do. Now, before you do the next problems, let's back up to here. Because I can use that to figure out my missing numbers. If I'm going from 3 to 9, negative 5 is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9th term. I can do what I just did to find D. And if I have D, then I can figure out everything else that I need in this formula to find the missing numbers. Does that make sense? This is the easiest way to do that. Set it up just like you found the arithmetic mean. So 37 minus negative 5 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Divided by 6. So negative 37 minus negative 5 is 42. 42 over 6 is 7. So my D is 7. Now I know my D. I know a number in there. I can find the first number. I can go from there. Okay? So it's a lot easier way of figuring things out. Does that make sense? Okay. I want you to find these two. Find the arithmetic means, figure out what D is, and then find the numbers between them. Okay, so let's go ahead and do these. So I'm going from 7 with 1, 2, 3, 4 blanks that I need to fill in. So I take the last term, negative 33, minus the first term, 7, and I have 4 blanks, so I divide by 1 more than that, divide by 5. Negative 33 minus 7, that's negative 40, over 5, that's negative 8. So what am I doing? I'm subtracting 8 each time. So 7 minus 8, negative 1, negative 9, negative 17, negative 25, negative 33. Okay? And the next one, same concept. I'm going from 19.2, and I have 1, 2, 3 blanks between that and 34.4. So it's 34.4 minus 19.2 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4. One more than that. And I get 3.8. So what do? I add 3.8 each time. I get 23, and then I get 26.8, and then how much? 30.6. Thank you. There you go. Not too bad. Question. This one's not too bad. I actually kind of like this one. Wait till we do the geometric mean. That's next time. Okay, write the explicit formulas and recursive formulas for the sequence. So we're going to, for the explicit formula, we're going back to this. And the explicit formula, all we need to know is the first one and know D. Plug in A sub 1, plug in D, simplify it, and we'll get our formula, our explicit formula. So our first term, A sub 1, is 2. D is 3. We're adding 3 each time. So to get my explicit formula, A sub n equals 2 plus n minus 1 times 3. Plug in my first term, plug in my difference, and then I want to clean it up. I want to make it look pretty. It doesn't look pretty now. I want to make it look pretty. It's important to look pretty, right? A sub n equals 2 plus 3n minus 3. Distribute the 3. A sub n equals 3n minus 1. That's what I want to do. Okay? Same thing on this one. A sub 1 is 5.7. My D is, what is that, 1.2? Is that right, 1.2? Yeah. I screwed up so much, I want to check. So A sub n equals 5.7 plus n minus 1 times 1.2. Distribute and combine up like terms. A sub n equals 5.7 plus 1.2n minus 1.2. A sub n equals 1.2n plus 4.5. And that's my explicit formula. Now I can find anything I want, anywhere I want, anytime I want. Okay. Explicit formula is a little harder to find than the recursive one, but really, if you have this, it's a piece of cake. You just need to know 2 things: the first term and the difference. And plug those 2 numbers in and simplify this. That's all you have to do. It's not that hard. And we worked already a little bit with the recursive formulas. Recursive formula, remember, you have the first term, and then A sub n equals A sub n, because these are arithmetic, A sub n minus 1 plus whatever my D is. So my first term, what's my first term? It's 2. What's my D? And we already figured out the D earlier, right? What's the D? 3, because it's the same sequence. So it's plus 3. Ooh, that was hard. Want to see me do it again? Okay. A sub 1 is 5.7. A sub n is a sub n minus 1. And what was our D on this one? Our D was 1.2, so we have plus 1.2. Makes it easy that they're the same sequences. But look, it also shows that I can have more than one way to find a formula for a sequence. 2 different ways to find formulas for the same sequence. Which one do I prefer? Give me the explicit one any day. It makes it easier to do. But the recursive one is a nice one to have. Okay. Questions? Okay, do those. Okay, here we go. So, a sub n is a sub 1, which is negative 2.3. 2.3 plus n minus 1 times, and the difference was negative 3.3. Okay, so your D is negative 3.3. Distribute equals negative 2.3 plus, or I should say minus 3.3n plus 3.3. A sub n, negative 2.3 plus 3.3 gives me a 1. So I have 1 minus 3.3n, or a sub n equals negative 3.3n plus 1. Either way is fine with me. Either one's fine. It really doesn't matter which one. If you want to make it look pretty and not have a negative in front, have a minus in the same thing. Okay. Next one, my D is 4? No, 6. I'm adding 6. So I'm kind of running out of room on this one, but it should be a little easier. So a sub n equals negative 17 plus n minus 1 times 6. A sub n equals 6n. Negative 6 plus 17 plus negative 17 is negative 23, right? 6n minus 23? Yep, okay. Awesome. And this one, a sub 1 is that, and your D is negative 0.7. A sub n equals 4.5 plus n minus 1 times negative 0.7. So a sub n equals 4.5 minus 0.7n plus 0.7. A sub n equals negative 0.7n plus 5.2. Victory there. Okay. And then the recursive one, piece of cake. A sub 1 is negative 2.3. A sub n equals a sub n minus 1. And then we figured our D was what? D was negative 3.3 minus 3.3. A sub 1 is negative 17. A sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus 6. A sub 1 is 4.5. A sub n equals a sub n minus 1 minus 0.7. It's easier to write the recursive formulas. They're easier to write, a little less manipulation in there. Easier to use the explicit ones. Okay. Any questions? And I do believe that's it. Yep. That's all, folks.